like commitment for now, 'cause we're falling apart. Yeah, yeah, believe it. You're just doing that to get even. But I pick up the pieces, just leaving for now. Make you falling apart. Pushing it from miles away. Messing with the things you said. Messing up on highways, I can't blame you, no. Pushing it from miles away. Messing with the things you said. Messing up on highways, I can't blame you, no. I can't blame you at all.
Happiness hit her like a train on a track, coming towards her, stuck still, no turning back. She hid around corners and she hid under beds. Killed it with kisses, and from it she fled. With every bubble she sank with a drink and washed it away down the kitchen sink. The dog days are over, the dog days are done. The horses are coming, so you run fast for your mother, run fast for your father, run for your children, for your sisters and brothers. Leave all your love and your lonely behind. You can't carry it with you if you want to survive. The dog days are over, the dog days are done. Can you hear the voices? 'Cause we are late.
sun, I met someone out on the west coast. I gotta get back, I can't let this go. Saturday sun, I met someone, don't care what it costs. No ray of sunlight's ever lost. So tired of sleeping alone, so tired of eating alone. I need to ask her, what's going on? Are we going strong? She felt like resting her head, my shoulder was the perfect height. We fit so right, so what's going on? Cause I've been undone. The long drive, the coastline, looking out at first light. Am I still on her mind? I've been undone. Saturday sun, I met someone out on the west coast. I gotta get back, I can't let this go. Saturday sun, I met someone, don't care what it costs. No ray of sunlight's ever lost, ever lost. Ba-ba. And still the memory's right there. She put the breeze in my hair. No kiss was softer, softer than this. I'm reading her lips. Oh, each line I read. She left her books in my bed and her song in my head. I've been undone. Oh, Saturday sun, I met someone out on the west coast. I gotta get back, I can't let this go. Saturday sun, I met someone, don't care what it costs. No ray of sunlight's ever lost, ever lost. Ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. Sun, I met someone out on the west coast. I gotta get back, I can't let this go. Saturday sun, I met someone, don't care what it costs. No ray of sunlight's ever lost. Oh, Saturday sun, Saturday sun, I met someone. Saturday sun, ba-ba, 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 ba-ba.
Can I sit next to you? Can you sit next to me? Get the stars out your eyes, come and bring them to me. I've been down so long, I've been working on a plan, yeah. It's just that I've been down so long, I gotta give me my word. Can I sit next to you? Can you sit next to me? Oh. I walk to Memphis alone, 'cause you do it for me. I know you would. All the kicks from the sticks, all the kicks are in new. I put all that aside, concentrate on you. All the kicks from the sticks, all the hits that we took, all the stitches we got, all our brains so good. Someday I'm gonna get right water. I've been down so long, been down, but now I gotta get there. one's holding me back. No, it's changing my mind. Oh, gonna walk a tightrope, gonna get kicks every night. No one's holding me back. No one's changing my mind. Yeah, the stars at your eyes. Come and sit next to me under Tennessee skies, down on South Front Street. Oh, I've been working on the plan, yeah. I've been down so long, been down, but now I gotta get lifted up.
something everywhere. Above the ground, I'm flying through the air, right past the crowd. My heart is screaming loud. This moment of joy is thrilling me. This moment of joy is keeping me high. This moment of joy is a light that shines every day. Me and you, here to catch a view. Rolling hills, the dawn of something new. In the groove.
Well, let's get it started. And as you know, executive directors can't dance. Welcome to our first virtual BSA auction. I'm Eric White, the executive director of the BSA, and I'm coming to you from our offices in Boston. We are so happy to see all of you and hope you and your families are healthy and well. We have a wonderful evening tonight. And first, I want to thank the many incredibly talented artists who contributed to this event. Well, most of them are talented, except for maybe that one guy named White. I have no idea how he got into this. He must be connected or something. But anyway, we have a great lineup tonight, led by our hosts, Felice and David Silverman, and our auctioneer, Courtney Sharp. You'll also hear tonight from some of those whose work you are supporting through this event. Now, this year has been particularly crazy, and I want to say we truly appreciate your support. We've been making a lot of changes here at the BSA, but our focus remains on 4 key areas. First, of course, is advancing the architectural profession and architectural excellence. Second, we are addressing the impact of climate change to improve the health of all people and the planet. Third, we're tackling the inequities and injustices within both the profession and in society as a whole. And fourth, we are sharing our expertise and ingenuity to building stronger communities for all. Your participation tonight goes to advancing this important work throughout the BSA. So bid high, bid often, and bid on time as the bidding closes at 6 p.m. I hope you enjoy this evening, and let's get this party started.
Welcome everyone to the BSA's Auction Fundraiser Final Day Soiree, coming to you live from BSA Space. My name is Felice Silverman, Principal at Silverman Trykowski Associates and supporter of the Boston Society for Architecture.
And I'm David Silverman, also a principal at Silverman Trykowski Associates and member of the BSA Foundation Board of Trustees. We are honored to be here today to host the Boston Society for Architecture's second annual auction fundraiser.
While we couldn't celebrate in person this year, we hope that you enjoy the program from the comfort of your own home tonight. We have an exciting lineup for you. You'll hear from some of the BSA staff about the programs they've been working on, some guest appearances from BSA community members, and Courtney Sharp, BSA board member, will tell us more about some of the special featured items. We want to start by giving a big thank you to our sponsor, M&T Bank, as well as all of the artists who donated their beautiful work to help support this auction fundraiser.
Since this is our final day soiree, bidding will end after this program wraps up at 6 p.m. If you have your eye on something, be sure to check our auction site at bidpal.net/auction. Again, bidpal.net/auction. If you're just tuning in and haven't registered yet, there's still time. Head over to the site to get started. Just don't outbid me.
So this year has been challenging for all of us. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced the BSA and many of our community members to address unprecedented challenges. The BSA has heard from many of our members and partners that the uncertainty is daunting. The BSA remains determined to meet the needs of the members and communities they serve. Since March, staff have worked diligently from their homes. They've pivoted familiar in-person programs to virtual experiences and created new programs that give both the public and the architecture profession a place to gather and learn from one another. The BSA is committed to addressing major issues in our profession and society and acting as a convener for important conversations about racial justice, equity, climate change, and the health of our communities in these uncertain times.
Last month, the BSA wrapped up a 12-week series around reducing embodied carbon in the AEC field and recently kicked off a race and architecture series. You'll hear more about these and a number of their initiatives throughout this program, but we want to remind you that none of this is possible without supporters like you. Your donations, whether through bidding in this auction, a multi-year pledge, or a one-time gift, power these programs.
So one such initiative is housing. The BSA is proud to be leading the conversations in Boston around housing challenges, from affordable and workforce housing to compact living to accessible dwelling units. Policy Director Jennifer Efron has been working closely with the BSA and the City of Boston's Housing Innovation Design Fellow, Wandy Pasquale, on two programs aimed to spur action around Boston. Jenny and Wandy sent in a video to tell us more about their recent work.
Hi, I'm Jenny Efron, the Policy Director at the Boston Society for Architecture. My work focuses on the impacts that design can have on issues of affordable housing, climate change, urban planning, and equity.
And hi, everybody. My name is Wandy Pasquale. I'm the Housing Innovation Design Fellow with both the BSA and the Mayor's Housing Innovation Lab. And as you might have guessed, my work focuses on housing. And over the 2 years in this position, I will be leading the work around the next Housing Innovation Competition.
So our work really focuses on partnerships and bringing people together to work on issues of affordable housing and community making. That all changed, of course, when we went remote, but the work still needs to continue. We had done a housing innovation workshop with MIT and the iLab yearly, and we had already started to plan for this year's workshop. When COVID-19 turned into a global pandemic and in-person workshops were not possible, we had to think really hard about whether people would be up for participating in a day-long housing workshop on their computers. We decided the workshop should still happen, though, particularly because we could focus it to further Wandy's work, and issues of affordable housing and inequity have become even more important.
Agreed. And so we asked ourselves what role housing plays in at times perpetuating these injustices, particularly as it relates to equity and racism. This global pandemic has highlighted issues of racial injustice. Also, we know that this is a period of economic volatility. And so for this year's workshop, we asked participants to address existing barriers to the production of multifamily housing by introducing them to the first phase of the next Housing Innovation Competition. And so as they spent 2 days ideating ways to facilitate the production of middle-scale housing, we recognized that there really was an importance of having input earlier on in the process for the upcoming competition. And we received critiques that were really helpful in even planning this process overall. And we could really tell that there was interest from the folks in the room to see this come into fruition. And doing this virtually also provided us an opportunity that, for us to rethink our in-person structure for when that's possible again.
And I just want to say that it was heartening that not only were people willing to join us for 1 day, but 2 days, and that our partners and advocates in affordable housing, everyone just really cares so much about getting at these issues and really brought everything they had to this with some really innovative thinking and some great ideas. And so we're really excited about what happened at the workshop and excited for what's next to come. We are planning an exhibition this fall virtually that will be on the BSA website that we're excited to share with everyone.
Yeah, and so this exhibition will be a way for us to continue doing this work, like Jenny said, that has come out of the workshop. It will be a way for us to showcase the work that has also happened prior to the workshop that has helped inform our focus for the competition. And we really aim to honor the importance of storytelling and engagement with all publics who will be directly impacted by this work. And maybe this can also serve as an opportunity, right, for those who might benefit to learn from our own experience. And equity of access and of participation is truly at the heart of this. And we have seen how much support really allows for this effort to develop over time.
Yeah, and so this work has been really fulfilling to work on for us. And we know that, the partners and the volunteers that have stepped forward to help us with this work has been really great. And we're continually grateful to all of our supporters, and especially as we continue to navigate all of these trying times.
Thanks, Jenny and Wandy. The transition to leading workshops virtually has meant rethinking how these programs are delivered, and these two rock stars immediately rose to the challenge. Right now, as housing has become more important than ever, we need to continue our collective work to find solutions to Boston's housing crisis. The BSA is grateful for all of the supporters who helped make these programs possible.
We have a number of those supporters here who would like to share those stories with you tonight to help us to explain the importance of the work that the BSA is doing in the community. So we'll now hand it over to a few of those supporters to hear what the BSA means to them.
Hi, my name is Ted Salukian. I'm a practicing architect in Boston, as well as the chair of the Board of Trustees for the BSA Foundation. As chair, I'm often asked what I love about the BSA and why it is important to our community. We recognize that Boston is a great city with diverse neighborhoods full of passionate people who care about design and architecture and how we can improve how we work and live together to make a more equitable city. Well, a quick story. At the end of last year, my architecture practice was working for a developer, designing a mixed-use project in Mattapan. My office held a public meeting at the local community center, and prior to the presentation, as I typically do, I introduced members of the office and then gave a brief description regarding the other work that I do in my role with the foundation. To my surprise, after the meeting, a few people came up to me wide-eyed and smiling and thinking, wow, we got a pretty good project. Instead, the first words I heard were, we love the BSA. We love the people. We love the work that you do in our community. The BSA Wilson Street Gardens has made such a difference to us. Please come back and do more. Needless to say, I was so thankful to be a part of this work and even more inspired to know that what we do impacts how we can connect people to architecture and design in our neighborhoods, making our communities more equitable and inclusive and more beautiful and functional for everyone. We have a city where there are gaps in the quality of open space, affordable housing, and transportation, as well as minimal access to design education for our young people, to name a few. I love how the BSA has the ability to convene and connect the resources of our profession with the stakeholders of our community, using architecture and design to shine a spotlight on equitable and inclusive changes that can positively impact the people of our city. I ask all of us in the BSA family, what will our city be like if we can all lean in a little more and engage more meaningfully? Thank you to everyone involved.
Hi, I'm Dan Peruzzi. I'm current treasurer of the Boston Society for Architecture. I support the mission of the BSA for two important reasons. First, like me, the BSA believes that architects can make a greater contribution to the world beyond just designing individual buildings. The BSA creates bonds between communities and architects to explain our ability to design for climate change and to create a more just and inclusive society. Second, architecture is one of the least understood professions. Education is critical to reaching that next generation of the public. The BSA creates and supports educational programs for all ages that are there to explain the power and the impact of architecture and design.
The BSA's efforts align so closely with my own interests. I care deeply about preparing our children for the future. And Polly is just a visionary, a real leader in getting students engaged with important hands-on problem solving. During the pandemic, this has been vital. She's been delivering materials and curriculum to teachers and to parents so that students at home have important projects to be working on. Polly's gotten my entire office engaged. We've had students coming in for day-long programs and high school students coming in for summer internships. It's wonderful for them and wonderful for us. The work the BSA is doing related to climate change is very important to me, whether through educational programs such as their Embodied Carbon series, through their efforts to create a more stringent net zero building code, through their efforts to retrofit the existing building stock in the city of Boston. The BSA is a key player in the region in moving towards a more sustainable and fossil-free future. Please be generous. These efforts are vital. Thank you so much.
The BSA is so grateful for the support of members like Ted, Dan, and Laura. As Dan said, the BSA works as the bond between the community and architects, creating a more just, inclusive society. They are committed to being a convener for important issues facing the greater Boston design community.
So for me, one of the most impactful parts of the BSA is the Women in Design Knowledge Community. WID is a multifaceted, interdisciplinary community celebrating and encouraging the success and leadership of women in the design community by creating opportunities for networking, professional development, continuing education, mentorship, and community recognition. I'm so honored to co-chair the Women in Design Award of Excellence, celebrating and honoring accomplished and inspirational women in our community. Mark your calendars and be sure to join us for the virtual award ceremony at ABX on December 3rd, and it will be free and open to everyone.
The BSA really does have something for everyone. During these unusual times, the BSA has been a great resource to our firm by offering helpful online Zoominars on remote work best practices and are leading thoughtful conversations about racial equity in our profession. A passion of mine is helping young people gain access to design thinking in the built environment so that they might see potential opportunities in the future. My BSA journey started as a board member of Learning by Design that supported many youth programs like Kids Build and Family Design Days. Now, as a board member of the BSA Foundation, I continue to support these programs as well as our wonderful community engagement programs that help to make Boston a better city.
So we are about a quarter of the way through our final day soiree, and there's still time to bid. This year's auction features works generously donated by artists and artisans throughout New England and beyond. We are so excited to feature work by local artists, architects, landscape architects, and even some BSA staff members. So we want to give a very heartfelt and generous thank you to all of the artists who have donated their work to this auction. Without them, this event would not be possible, so we thank you so much. To see all of the wonderful pieces up for auction, please visit the bidding site, bidpal.net/auction. There you can also find the auction's catalog with more beautiful detailed images of each piece.
Our auctioneer, BSA board member Courtney Sharp, stopped by earlier to tell us a little more about some of the featured items. As a reminder, bidding closes after this program, so if something has caught your eye, don't wait.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Courtney Sharp, and I'm a board member of the Boston Society for Architecture. Thank you for tuning in to our second annual BSA auction fundraiser. As David and Felice mentioned, this is a unique event. We are excited to present this year's auction in virtual format. I'm coming to you directly from BSA Space, as you can see, and I'm surrounded by beautiful artwork generously donated to us by our members, local artists, and makers. Tonight you will hear from a number of BSA supporters, and we'll share a few featured auction items up close. You can bid directly on the site, bidpal.net/auction, and you can also donate to the BSA and its mission to build a better Boston directly on that site as well. We have had 3 days of intense bidding, but don't worry, there are still a number of items up for grabs. So bid soon because the bidding ends at 6 p.m. for all items. Our first piece here is from City Print, the exhibition and ongoing project led by Make Tank, one of BSA's knowledge communities. Make Tank is currently gathering makers within the greater Boston architecture, engineering, and construction community to crowdsource a translation of the city's existing digital models into fabrication-ready data. This project will demonstrate the power of collective community making and its ability to inspire and represent an entire city through the creation of new digitally fabricated City of Boston model for display at the Boston Society for Architecture. Tiles are still up for grabs, so if you are interested in helping develop future digital files, please visit architects.org/exhibitions. The folks in the Make Tank knowledge community have generously donated their time and expertise to create this piece, specifically for this auction fundraiser. There are 4 city tile prints featuring Boston's Back Bay, Boston Common, Financial District, and South End are mounted on this beautiful wood frame. So this 3D print piece has a starting bid of $500. Again, you can find bidding information at bidpal.net/auction. This is a one-of-a-kind piece, and you only have until 6 p.m. before bidding closes. If you have questions, we have BSA staffers manning the chat function, so please feel free to reach out. I will now hand it back over to Felice and David, but don't worry, there's still more featured items coming your way, so stay tuned.
Thanks, Courtney. So for those of you thinking you might need a model of Boston in your home, this is your chance. Although it isn't currently open to the public, the City Print exhibition is still in BSA Space, and the project is ongoing.
For years, BSA Space was home to a beautiful but outdated Boston City model. If you've lived here long enough, you know how much the city has changed in just a few years. In 2019, Make Tank, one of the BSA's 42 knowledge communities, partnered with the BSA to create an updated scale model of the City of Boston that can be continuously updated as city development continues. Make Tank has been gathering makers within the Greater Boston AEC community to crowdsource the translation of the city's existing digital models into fabrication-ready data. Each participating maker will be given an existing digital section of the city, and as a community, we will develop a collection of 3D printable digital models. As these digital models are completed, they'll be used to produce a new 3D printed physical scale model of the City of Boston, printed on-site at BSA Space. CityPrint is the product of collaborative community making and its ability to inspire and represent the entire region through the creation of a new digitally fabricated model of the City of Boston. The BSA is proud to facilitate this project and hopes that it will make design accessible to everyone within Greater Boston.
So while the BSA's in-person exhibitions are on hold, the staff continues to work on new ways to engage audiences. A great example of that is the BSA's Youth Design Education Program, which is led by Director of Public Programs Polly Carpenter and Design Education Fellow Taylor Johnson. We've asked Polly and Taylor to share a bit of what they've been working on since classes moved online.
Thanks so much for tuning in to hear what we've been working on with K-12 educational programs at the BSA. I'm Polly Carpenter, an architect and Director of Public Programs.
And I'm Taylor Johnson, Design Education Fellow here at the BSA. So those familiar with our programs will know that we focus on hands-on learning, which requires gathering together with students, children, and families in a collaborative project-based learning environment. Without Ways to Gather this year, we reorganized how we work with and also deliver content to our partner organizations. And although some projects were put on hold, others propelled forward in new ways adapted for the new virtual world.
So we're going to talk about two projects today, both of which are fully supported by our volunteers and our donors, without which they would not happen. And those of you who know, we usually reach about 2,000 to 3,000 students across Boston, both at BSA Space and out in neighborhoods and at schools. And so the first project I'll talk about is our kindergarten program, which was fully up and running, hands-on in the classroom, where 50 area professionals volunteered their time to go in and work with about 50 kindergarten classrooms. They are working on a big project called Our Boston or Our Cambridge, where they really think about how to make the city a better place. And so right in the middle of that, students were sent home, and we had to really rethink how they were going to complete this big group project, but actually do it at home. So we worked with the teachers and administrators to come up with a guide that families could access on their school website. The guides were in English and in Spanish, and the guides took them step by step through making projects. It had a list of materials, things they could use around the house. And they were tasked with working with their families to create these projects. So we're really excited about these guides. They're still available on the school portal as well as the BSA website. And it was great to hear from the teachers that so many students participated when we know how hard it is, such a difficult transition for these young children to participate in virtual learning and take the screen and sort of adapt it to their home.
The student submissions that we got truly reflected what was and what is going on in the larger world and also their own worlds. To create designs for a more fair and fun Boston, students designed parks and playgrounds where students could play together again outside in nature, and hospitals for people to get better. Especially now with so much change in their lives, it was important for them to be able to dream up something new and be proud of what they could design and build together with their families. On the other side of the K-8 spectrum, we also collaborated with a longtime partner, Apprentice Learning, for their City Summer Internship, which is a multi-week program with various worksite partners across Boston. And it required us to transform our typical design program, which happens at BSA Space, into a 2-week virtual workshop. Their theme, which was Blueprint for Success, had participating students exploring who they are and their own personal blueprint, so their strengths, weaknesses, interests, and curiosities, all to better inform their career and life choices going forward, which is perfect for that age as they're about to enter high school. Our design challenge, which was a space for your future self, asked students to consider how the design of spaces influence the way they feel and can also be an expression of themselves. So they weren't designing for themselves, they were working together in pairs, designing for one another, collaborating through Zoom, and designing with at-home kits that were complete with instructions, supplies, and building materials.
So it was great to see the students really embrace this project. So we created these kits for them with all of their supplies, and it became their model. So it was great to see them sort of doing some hands-on work when they were really staring at the screen so much. We had heard a great story from Apprentice Learning who said that one girl had called in sick one day, but then she heard it was the BSA day, and she decided to come in for the day so she could do her hands-on project. And it really tells us how much these design projects are so important all the time, but also now when we really are thinking about the upcoming year and students being virtual, possibly more than they are in person.
Yeah, and as we look to the upcoming school year, which is full of virtual at-home learning, we are starting to see ever-expanding challenges of access for so many students and families across the city. So to provide greater amounts of accessible hands-on educational resources, we are planning to continue to collaborate with local partner schools and organizations and to develop more tools and curriculums across the K-12 spectrum to fill the gaps through this challenging time.
And there are huge gaps, and these gaps are really only made up with your support to help us try to fill these gaps. We hope to expand our work this year, and we really are so appreciative of your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Polly and Taylor. We're so proud of the quick thinking and flexibility of our youth design education team and are so excited to see what unique and creative programs they continue to develop.
The BSA's youth programming is a cornerstone of our public work. When you support the BSA, you further initiatives like these. Understanding design opens up many doors and allows students to think about their world differently, whether or not they decide to study architecture or engineering. The BSA is grateful to our generous donors who help to sustain many of these ongoing initiatives. But that is not the only way you can be involved with the BSA's work. To learn more about volunteer opportunities as an individual or as a firm, please email bsa@architects.org. Again, bsa@architects.org. The amazing staff here is more than happy to work with you to figure out the best fit for you and your team.
The BSA also has 42 diverse knowledge communities open to BSA members and the general public. Knowledge communities give the ability for open forum for discussion, formation of new ideas, and professional growth. These groups are still working together throughout the pandemic, holding regular virtual meetings. So to learn more about the BSA's knowledge communities and find the right fit for your area of passion within the industry, please visit architects.org/knowledge communities.
We hope you're enjoying yourselves so far at home. We want to thank all of you again for joining us for such a unique event. We still have more BSA staff and volunteers to hear from, but now we'll turn it back to Courtney to talk about our next featured item.
Welcome back. I hope you've been enjoying your time at the BSA's virtual auction fundraiser. It's so great to hear from staff and volunteers about the exceptional work the BSA is doing in our communities. Your support is important now more than ever. Throughout tonight's event, we encourage you to share how you're involved with the BSA and what the BSA means to you. You can do that through our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our next piece is titled House, The Dark Brick Returns by Peter Kuttner, FAIA. Peter has been a BSA member since 1983. As a champion of the profession, he has mentored generations of young architects and designers. He has led the BSA in many of its committees and served in leadership roles with the American Institute of Architects. He currently sits on the BSA Foundation Board of Trustees, is the Chancellor of the 2020 AIA College of Fellows, and was on the board of the Architecture Boston magazine, and was also a past president of the BSA Board of Directors. Created in 2004, The Dark Brick Returns is a parody of Art Spiegelman's Pulitzer Prize-winning Mouse graphic novel. You can see mouse characters in the first box, and Dark Brick has mouse ears throughout the comic series. You can also see inspiration from DC Comics Batman art, obviously mixed with old and new Boston buildings. There's one, of course, a recent visit from Mr. Natural, Robert Crumb's character, in the bottom panel of the first page. The Dark Brick story is introduced by Associate Professor Hausbau, whose name is an obvious play on the Bauhaus and secret identity of Dark Brick. He and his teaching assistant, Mortar, then lead the reader on a tour of Boston neighborhoods, Then as now, there was a great deal of discussion about the character of Boston architecture and the dependence on brick as a local vernacular. Contemporary buildings were being introduced to various degrees of success. The comic was done in grayscale with the exception of brick colors to highlight the brick buildings. This piece is framed and ready to hang. It measures about 29 inches by 22 inches. The starting bid for this item is $340. If you would like to own this collector's piece, please visit bidpal.net/auction. As a reminder, bidding is only open until 6 p.m., so don't forget to enter your bid soon. We also have BSA staff members manning the chat, so if you have any questions about this item or any of the other pieces featured in the silent auction, reach out. They are happy to help.
Thanks so much, Courtney. And as a reminder, head over to bidpal.net/auction at any time during this program to bid on Peter's incredible piece or any other item.
2020 has brought about long overdue conversations regarding equity, diversity, and inclusion in the world at large and in the workplace. The BSA's boards and staff have been working diligently to develop tools to address systemic racism in the profession and beyond. All of these tools are publicly available on architects.org as they are developed. Please use these resources to create change in your workplace and at home. We're all needed to create true and lasting change. Championed by BSA AIA President Natasha Espada, the BSA has created Race in Architecture, a program series that encourages and provides necessary dialogue around race in our profession. In bringing Black and brown voices to the foreground, they aim to make this work a priority and empower all architects with the tools to drive meaningful change. Natasha recently sat down to tell us more about the BSA's equity, diversity, EDI work.
My name is Natasha Espada, and I'm the founding principal of Studio and Architects and the 2020 president of the Boston Society for Architecture. With the BSA's network of 4,500 members and the BSA Foundation's work in the communities, the BSA is committed to bring design and architecture to everyone in an equitable way. Since 2018, I have been one of the co-chairs of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Task Force at the BSA, and this has really been a major focus of my presidency. In the spring of 2018, the 50-person task force looked at how EDI impacted the membership, the firms, and the BSA organization. We created a matrix of items. We divided it into 4 goals: advocacy, support, education, and measurement. And then in January 2020, we created an EDI and an LGBTQ knowledge community at the BSA and hosted our first EDI town hall. This spring, we began to build relationships with local colleges and universities to provide all students, but specifically the BIPOC students, mentoring opportunities to help them remain in the profession. And we also created an EDI page on the website with resources and links to BIPOC architect firms. But as we were about to begin our series on the guides for equitable practice in the spring, our hearts grieved for all the Black lives who were senselessly murdered because they happened to be Black in the United States. And in June, in response to that national outrage, the BSA put together a statement addressing racism and racial injustice in architecture and at the BSA. This statement indicated that as architects, we must understand the role we play in perpetuating systems of oppression and commit ourselves to designing and building for equity. So this really made us reevaluate our mission and the goals of the EDI group and to pivot towards immediate support for the Black architects in Boston. So we have now regrouped as an EDI task force of about 75 people, and we're reevaluating our mission, our goals, and to re-identify the barriers that we see facing equity in our profession. These events also prompted the creation of a series called Race in Architecture, which encourages and provides necessary dialogue around race in our profession. In bringing Black and brown voices to the foreground, we hope to make this a priority and to empower all architects with the tools to drive really meaningful change. So we work closely with Artists for Humanities in the past couple of months to create a logo and an identity for this really important series. Throughout the remainder of the year, Race in Architecture sessions will be held every 4th Tuesday of each month, and they'll feature a variety of speakers who offer opportunities to listen and learn from the lived experiences of minority architects. Programs in 2021 will continue to highlight diverse voices and will offer more opportunities to engage and act. So in addition to that Race in Architecture series this summer, the EDI network led the creation of a BSA Equity and Practice resource guide based on the AIA Guides for Equitable Practice, and the BSA and staff and the boards are participating in EDI training. So we hope that the BSA's ongoing work on equity, diversity, inclusion, and social justice will encourage and support the architectural profession to be a more diverse and a more inclusive community who truly designs and builds for everyone in an equitable way.
Thanks so much, Natasha. This work is extremely important as we move towards creating a more diverse profession with actionable and measurable goals to make our workplaces inclusive and equitable. When leaders make issues of EDI a priority, change happens. So to learn more about the amazing work that Natasha and the BSA are doing, please visit architects.org. So to keep this program moving, we're excited to turn it back to Courtney Sharp, who will be showing us our third featured auction item.
Welcome back. Thank you for watching, donating, and bidding. It's been so wonderful and inspiring to hear about all the programs and initiatives that the BSA staff and volunteers have been working on so hard since COVID-19 hit. We have heard from a number of BSA supporters, and we've gotten to see a few of our fabulous auction items, but there's still so much more to see tonight. Remember, you can bid directly on our site, bidpal.net/auction, and you can donate to the BSA and its mission to build a better Boston directly on that website as well. To connect with the BSA and become more involved in our ongoing initiatives, please check out our website, architects.org, or you can email bsa@architects.org directly. Our next featured item is another by local artist. Her name is Stephanie Hubbard, and she is the founder and principal of Site Creative, a landscape architecture firm in Boston. For her, painting is an extension of Stephanie's practice as a landscape architect. The exploration of scale, form, and pattern, as well as texture in different formats informs all of her creative practice. Passage, one of her more recent pieces, is an oil and mixed media on wood panel. It measures 2 feet by 2 feet and it is ready to hang. Passage has a starting bid of $480. This would look great in your home. If you want to own this beautiful piece of art, please check out our bidding site, bidpal.net/auction. The number for it is 42. Bidding is open until 6 p.m. Remember, we have BSA staff members on hand to answer any questions you may have about this piece or any others in the auction. We still have one more featured auction item to tell you about, so don't go anywhere. I'll now hand it back over to David and Felice. See you soon.
Oh, thanks, Courtney. Sorry, I got outbid. I had to deal with that. All right. We're going to now turn it over to Ben Peterson, the BSA's Community Design Director. Since Ben joined the BSA in January, he's jumped right in to guide a number of community-focused projects, bringing together community leaders, local organizations, and residents to address issues using thoughtful design. Earlier this week, we sat down with Ben to hear more about what he's been working on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Peterson. I'm the Director of Community and Collaborative Design here at the BSA. I came on board to reinvigorate relationships with community organizations, nonprofit groups, and public audiences, to expand access to design resources, and to make design processes more open to a variety of stakeholders and collaborators. Almost as soon as I started this position, encouraged, energized to get out and get engaged with new projects and new partners in the city, the coronavirus sent us all into retreat. It also sent us into action. In early March, I helped to organize and choreograph a coalition of architects, designers, engineers, and public health experts eager to offer their skills and expertise in the service of a greater public good. As healthcare facilities faced a mounting threat of exceeding their capacities, an assembly of professionals helped to design a process that might identify alternative sites and infrastructures in the provision of immediate and urgent care. The team worked tirelessly over almost daily remote calls to design and deploy a tool for evaluating and identifying sites that might accommodate new COVID-related uses. The information was made accessible to healthcare officials, decision makers, and other allied professionals as we navigated the uncertainties of the virus in its early days. It's an understatement to say this wasn't exactly how I was expecting to start my new gig with the BSA. But in many ways, this process spoke to exactly what I hoped community and collaborative design might look like in our city with the BSA at the directing helm. After some reflection, Makeshift, the initiative of providing alternative sites for care, is representative of the BSA's greatest assets. Its expansive network of design professionals, each passionate about the utility of design, each galvanized to do work for a greater good. I'm deeply grateful to each of the 150 plus collaborators, and I feel like this is a fitting opportunity to celebrate their commitment. Thank you. As the summer's gone on and I've settled into new modes of engagement and community support, I'm excited to share the launch of a new program for community and collaborative design here at the BSA. New partnerships are already underway, and projects are emerging that recognize the value of design in the resolution of sticky, complex, systemic, and persistent challenges in our city. The pursuit of racial and social justice, equity, the mechanisms that distribute decision-making and power color the involvement in projects everywhere from Chelsea Creek, behind me, to Mission Hill, to Nubian Square. I'm really excited for this program to come alive, and I look forward to engaging with many of you to keep it vibrant, joyful, and always evolving. So with that said, to all of our partners and collaborators, cheers to working together. To all of our new friends, I'm looking forward to getting into some more good trouble. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care.
Thanks, Ben. We are excited to see the long-term positive impact of your work. The importance of sustainable design has been top of mind for many years. The building industry needs to investigate the impacts and opportunities of products while creating strategies for realizing carbon-thoughtful design. In this vein, architects will help create a sustainable future for coming generations. As part of the BSA's ongoing initiative to bring awareness to climate-forward design, they recently hosted Embodied Carbon 101, a 12-part program series designed to give AEC professionals the knowledge they need to incorporate embodied carbon considerations immediately into their work.
So we recently invited Jacob Knowles to talk with us about how important the Embodied Carbon series is. Jacob is the Director of Sustainable Design at BR+A, leading the firm's sustainability consulting team. He was also an EC 101 speaker and presenter and is working on growing mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work within Embodied Carbon.
Hi, I'm Jacob Knowles. I'm the Director of Sustainable Design at BR+A and also the Affiliate Director on the board of the BSA. And the BSA for me it's our collective conscience. It's our whole community coming together to focus on tackling the big issues. Embodied Carbon 101 conference is just one more in a line of incredible challenges that the BSA has taken on to help make our world a better place. And it's really inspiring to see the leadership, and it sets a new bar. It's pushing us all to broaden our perspective and improve our practices at an exponential rate, which is what we need right now. So the BSA is the best investment I could imagine of our time and effort because it's us.
Wow, thank you, Jacob. We couldn't have said it any better ourselves. The BSA creates a community coming together to tackle the big issues of the time. The work that is being done through EC 101 and in the BSA's knowledge communities is continuously working to make Boston a better city, not just for us, but for future generations. So if you are moved by any of these amazing programs and stories, please support the work being done by bidding on auction items or simply donate to the BSA at bidpal.net/auction. Your support is greatly appreciated, and the BSA couldn't do any of this work without your help. So let's turn it back over to Courtney Sharp, who will show us our fourth featured auction item.
Hi everyone, thank you for being a part of the BSA's second annual auction fundraiser. We are coming up on the end of 3 full days of bidding, and we could not have pulled it off without your help. There is still time to bid on your favorite items, so remember to head to bidpal.net/auction to check out all the items that are still up for grabs. All the money raised tonight will go towards the BSA's mission to build a better Boston. COVID-19 prevented us from hosting this in person, but it has not stopped the BSA from its important and impactful work in the community and profession. We are proud to be a resource for BSA members in the community as a convener of social impact when all voices need to be heard. Now more than ever, we rely on design's ability to impact the way we live, work, and play. So thank you for your generous support. Now on to our next featured auction item. Here we have Night Space by Panapa Prakamapool, a landscape architect at Sasaki Associates. As a landscape architect, site play an important role in Panapa's work. Her current work explores the use of painting process as a tool to experience and understand the surrounding environment. The process begins at the site by using the performative acts of searching, studying, collecting natural painting materials in addition to sketching in situ, establishing a more immersive experience and engagement with the landscape. For Panapa, this process not only creates a connection between herself and the site, but also allows her, as someone who relocated to the United States in 2009, to form a deeper connection with places. Through the making of this art, she gradually identifies her place in this new environment. Panapa's piece, Nightscape, is a 10-inch by 20-inch piece made of metal that's ready to be hung. This monochromatic piece has a starting bid of $100, and you can find it listed on bidpal.net/auction, and the item number is 7. Again, bidding ends at 6 p.m., so get your bids in soon for this hot piece.
Thank you, Courtney. It is wonderful to see so many architects and landscape architects use their design skills in a creative way. Throughout tonight's event, we encourage you to share how you're involved with the BSA and what the BSA means to you through our social media platforms with @BSAAIA on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And please remember that your donations, whether through this auction tonight, a multi-year pledge, or a one-time gift, powers the impactful programs that you have been hearing about. So on behalf of the BSA boards, volunteers, and staff, thank you so much.
So as a reminder, bidding ends promptly at 6 p.m. So if you've been eyeing a painting, sculpture, or photograph, now is the time to put your bid in. You can set a max bid for yourself, and the bidding platform does the rest. So as Courtney has mentioned, we have BSA staff members ready to answer questions in the chat functions. So if you need help with signing into your bidding account or placing a competitive bid, please reach out. They are here to help you. And so now we will turn it back to more of our donors who took some time to tell us why the BSA is important to them and what drives them to give.
My name is Matt Kiefer, and I want to take a minute to tell you why I'm an enthusiastic BSA supporter. I'm a land use attorney in Boston, and I was lucky to get to know the BSA several years ago in helping them move to their new home, what became the BSA space. I know the BSA does a lot of things for its members, for the architecture profession, but what I really admire about the BSA is all the things it does outside the profession. The way it uses its members' skills and its space and its platform and its civic voice to make the city better for everybody. Just recently work with 3-deckers as a housing resource, work with facilities that might be useful during the COVID emergency, just some examples of all the things the BSA does to improve our city. So I support the organization with my words and deeds and also with my checkbook, and I plan to continue to do that, and I hope you will too.
I'm very pleased to be a supporter of the BSA. They played a leading role in mobilizing the architecture community in Boston around climate change issues. Early on, well before many other organizations, they led a number of innovative initiatives to illustrate how the city's waterfront can be protected from the flooding caused by sea level rise. More recently, they've been very helpful in assembling a portfolio of buildings that have had deep energy retrofits to show how the city's building stock can be made carbon-free over time, thereby reducing the emissions of the gases that cause climate change. Their programs are always timely and extremely well executed, and they're a great collaborator, often working with other groups who share their missions. Thank you again, BSA.
Hello, my name is Diane Georgopoulos, and I am a supporter of the Boston Society of Architects and the Architecture Foundation. The reason that I find it a worthwhile organization and mission to support is because they reach out to the community at large and bring to a group of young people particularly the idea of architecture, the practice of architecture, and the joy of architecture. And I find this to be heartening and positive and something that I really think creates opportunities where they otherwise would not exist.
Thank you, Matt, Bud, and Diane. It is wonderful to hear your personal stories about what the work the BSA does means to you. We're now nearing the end of the evening, and we want to thank you all for taking time out of your day to hear from the BSA's staff and members. The BSA is a community and member-driven organization and counts on the support of viewers like you to help us do what we do. We hope that you've had a chance to learn more about the programs and initiatives the BSA has been leading in these last few months, and perhaps you've been inspired to get involved.
The BSA website has information about events, volunteer opportunities, and calls for proposals, so be sure to log on to architects.org for the latest. And now, without further ado, we'll turn it over to Courtney one last time for our last auction item.
Hi everyone! We've made it to the final stretch of our virtual auction. On behalf of the BSA board, staff, and volunteers, I want to thank you for participating in our virtual auction fundraiser. All the money that has been raised tonight will go towards the BSA's mission to build a better Boston. I am proud to show you our final featured auction item. Corée de l'eau was created in 2018 by artist Hasna Song. Hasna describes her sculptures as a cornucopia of planes, textures, tonality, resonances, moods, emotions, morality, chaos. Some of Hasna's favorite techniques are lamp working, kiln annealing, and cold working. Hasna has generously donated her sculpture in honor of Professor Jeffrey Stein, AIA, a longtime member of the BSA. Corée de l'eau has a starting bid of $160. If you are interested in bidding on this piece, please visit bidpal.net/auction and look for item number 15. Bidding will be closing at 6 p.m. tonight, so please be sure to get your bids in before then. I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you for spending the evening with the BSA.
Thank you, Courtney. That's great. Remember, bidding's almost closed, and the bidding's getting hot and heavy now, so get those final bids in. We want to thank you all again for tuning in and spending the evening with us. It was so wonderful to hear about all the great work the BSA is able to accomplish. We also want to thank the BSA staff members who have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to brainstorm, implement, and execute all the events and initiatives that you have been participating in and benefiting from. If you are interested in learning more about the ongoing work of the BSA, please visit architects.org.
The BSA does have a few programs coming up in the next few weeks if you want to get more involved. The next Race in Architecture session will take place next week on September 22nd at 12 p.m. We are so excited to announce that Ted Landsmark, past BAC president, distinguished professor, and director of the Dukakis Center for Urban and Regional Policy at Northeastern University, will be moderating the discussion. We also have the honor of hearing from the mayor of Cambridge, Sumbul Siddiqui. Throughout her career, Mayor Siddiqui has been a strong advocate for affordable housing and has worked tirelessly to protect families from eviction and displacement.
The BSA is also hosting its annual college fair next Saturday, September 26th at 10 a.m. This year, the BSA Architecture Design College Fair will be held virtually. High school and undergraduate students will have the opportunity to meet the representatives from architecture programs across the country. A virtual marketplace will allow students to interact with representatives from schools. In addition to the college marketplace, the event will feature a series of workshops and panels from design professionals and educators to help students define their path toward an architecture career.
For more information on both of these events and to see the full calendar of events, visit architects.org/events. And again, as we close the night, we want to thank you so much to our sponsor, M&T Bank, and thank you to all of the artists and to everyone who tuned in this evening. We hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Center of the universe. I don't wanna be see